Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul. Today we got a pretty wild build. I was contacted by one of the subscribers, and he says, Paul, I really like your work. He says, can you make me a Maverick, but I want the theme to be hooker headers? And I says, well, sure. So we got the Maverick, and this is it here. Now, it's a pretty wild car. I mean, it's early, I don't know if you'd call it a muscle car or not, but some of them I saw were pretty fast. Maybe not the one I drove in the Army as a military policeman, but it's a pretty wild looking car. I'm not crazy about the mirrors on the front, but the guy says, hey, you know, leave it the way it is, but just paint it up with Spectre Flame paint. So I got a hold of some hooker header decals I found on the internet, and that's what I'm going to use to do this car. So let's go ahead and get it apart and evaluate what we have, and then we'll go from there. Grab your favorite adult beverage, and let's go ahead and get started. I've already drilled out the post. Now there's two posts on this car. Sometimes you just got to get in there and pry it apart a little bit, but normally it comes apart fairly easy. Now the base on this is plastic, as well as the interior, which it usually is. Here we go. Everything's brand new, so we're not going to have to worry about the parts too much here. Here's your body. We'll file those posts down and get them drilled out. Here's the base. We're going to definitely do a wheel swap on this. Windshield's brand new, so no problems there. I'm not too crazy about the interior. Now, I think I may have another Ford Maverick that I already took apart that has a black interior, and we may try and switch it out with that one. That'll save us some painting. Here we got the body. We're going to dip it in the embalming fluid. Good old citrus strip. Dip it in the embalming fluid. Make sure that everything is coated really well. Try and drip it off as best as you can. I missed a little spot there. Knock off as much of it as you can. Now, like I said, if you wanted to, you could take a brush at this point and brush off a lot of the excess, and it'll go back into the container. That'll save you time. It'll save you money overall. All right, let's put that on the tray. We'll let it set for a bit, and we'll get back to it here in just a little while. Let's go ahead and move on. We got it out of the citrus strip. We wiped it all down. We scrubbed it down with some soap and water. Now we're going to hit it with the Flitz. Overall, I think Flitz is the best product I've found to go ahead and do your buffing. Now, I have also used Blue Magic Metal Polish Cream, which works well, but I like the Flitz better. I've sped up the buffing here, because you've seen us buff out parts before, but that Flitz works fast and it works fantastic. If you don't have some, go ahead and get some. If you can't find it, I have it on my marketplace page on Amazon. There's a link in the comments. That's looking really good. Man, that stuff works fine. Now, if you really wanted to take this to the next level, you could take some sandpaper and sand it down and get rid of a lot of the little pits and stuff that are in the casting. When they pour it into the mold, it naturally has that look. So you can definitely bring it out to a mirror if you want to. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and click on that little bell to be alerted to any future videos that come out. This is pretty much done. Let's scrub it down with degreaser and get it ready for paint. As per the request of the subscriber, we're going to do this in a couple of colors of Spectre Flame. The first coat we're putting down here is Spectre Flame Yellow, and that's going to be the front 2/3 of the car. Now, when you're spraying on these really light colors like the yellow or the lime green, or especially antifreeze, and hot pink. You really need to put it on lightly. The problem is that the color is so light when you initially spray it, it's hard to see. So by the time you start to see the color, that's when you start to have problems, because you're putting on too much paint and it's going to run on you. So take your time and put your colors on in light coats, and that way there you won't have the problems with runs. That's looking nice. Now we're going to come back into the back and we're going to put Spectre Flame Orange. It's going to be an orange to a yellow fade. Fades in like that are really easy to do, folks, but I mean, yeah, you could do them with a spray can, but it's a lot easier to do them with an airbrush, and that's where an airbrush excels. So if you happen to get an airbrush, experiment with this. Take your time and have some fun with it. And you can put multiple colors on there if you wish. But I know that you can do this. If you have any questions, just leave a comment in the comment section and I'll get back to you. That's looking really nice. Let's just touch it up just a little bit more. Now make sure you also get underneath where the fender wells are, etc., because you want that fade to be complete. That's really starting to look sweet. Look at that. A nice gradual fade. That's looking nice. I love those Spectre Flame paints. Now you can also use the Spectre Flame paints to mix unique colors also. Give it a try.
Several minutes later.
After letting this sit overnight, we're going to go ahead and put the decals on. Now I had to figure out exactly where the decals would fit on this, and this is probably the best spot. So let it soak in the water for about 10 to 15 seconds. Make sure you wet the sides of your car, and then position the decal where you want it. Now at this point here, if you wanted to use some microsol to help it conform to the lines of the doors, etc., you could do that. But first you got to squeegee it out and get the excess water out of there. There you go. That looks good. That's about the best place it's going to fit right there. Now when you go to put the decal on the other side, just put it approximately where this one is. Now notice how close it is to the front door. And just use that as your guidelines. Now I'm also using the bottom of the door to line up the letters to make sure that they're square. Put a little bit of water on there. And here comes your other decal. There we go. It's been in the water long enough. There it is. Same thing, line it up with the edge of the door on the side, and then line it up with the edge of the door on the bottom, and that'll square it up. That means they're approximately in the same location on both sides of the car. Yep, moved a little bit. Just something you got to be careful of. This looks good. The gentleman I'm doing his car for likes Mavericks, and he's got several of them in his collection. He says, I would really like one of your customs in my collection. I says, okay. So he sent me some cars also. Here's the base. We had to cut out some notches for the wheels. We did a wheel swap on here. Now, these wheels that I got are very unique, and they're Samed wheels. Now guys, I have gotten wheels from overseas, from the guys over in Malaysia. 164 treads, and I got them from, I think, Mitzi's or something like that. But Samed is here in North America. He lives in the United States, but he gets his wheels from Mexico, and they're fantastic.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Here we've got all the pieces. We got the body, with that beautiful Spectre Flame faded paint job. We detailed it up with the hooker decals. Here's the base with those beautiful Samed wheels. Now again, the best part of the Samed wheels, folks, is they're here in North America, which means you don't have to wait weeks or months to get your wheels. I switched out the interior with a different Maverick, detailed it up. Windshield looks fantastic. We're definitely going to put that back in. And here's what we started with. Now the Maverick paint job on this with the flames looks really cool. I'm not too crazy about the interior, so we're going to go ahead and switch that out with a different interior I had from a different Maverick. But overall, the car looks really cool. I'm not crazy about the mirrors on the fenders, but that's the way the car came. And it looks really good, but I think we can definitely make it look that much better. So here's what we got to. Pretty cool car. We detailed it out. We put those beautiful wheels from Samed on there. We got some fantastic paint from the Redline shop, and you can get it too. Check it out, the Redline shop, and you can get a lot of things for your Redlines that you're restoring. But what's really cool is there's a lot of things on John's website that will work on today's cars, your Mainlines and anything else that you want to customize and paint. So please check out the Redline shop. Overall, I'm very happy with the way this car turned out. Those wheels definitely set it off. Now, I'd also again want to welcome Samed Wheels as an official sponsor of Diecast Graveyard. When I ordered my tires for my cars, I got them in 2 days, guys. Now, that's not the case every time, especially with the way the Postal Service works, and you know that. But he's going to get it to you a lot faster. They can get them to you from Malaysia. I'd like to introduce you to my Patreon team members. Grim Reaper level, William K7 Robinson, Dale Johnson, and Matt Miller. Mortician level, Air Warrior Coffee, Jake Rademacher, Jason Warren, Ray Berger, Ricky Montalvo, Sam Pascal. Funeral Director level, Diecast Sheriff on YouTube, Double B's Customs on YouTube, Dave Christensen, Todd Binney, Ryan Goldstein, and new member Evan Rule. Gravedigger, Aaron Murphy, Andrew Hitchens, Bob DeNice, Chris Decker, Grizz Flowers, John Holman, John Sellers on YouTube, Johnny and William Hicks, Keith Kripe, Leroy, Les Jenkins, Michael Oxley, Richie Ramos, Stacy Wright, and Trevor DeViz, Paul Bearer, Daryl Begtel, Gary Tasker, and Milesium 487, Hearst Drivers, Adam Bowen, Diecast Pirate, Jason Saylor, Jim Silva on YouTube, Joe Pierce, Pete Langford Pintoni, Richard Reese, Richard Subtrilo, Somo Diecast on YouTube, Scott Turner, Steve Terrence, Tony Hughes, and my good friend Wade Hendricks. Check in the links on how to become a team member of Diecast Graveyard. This video was brought to you by the Redline Shop. The Redline Shop offers a complete line of decals, tools to take your car apart, put them back together, replacement hoods, replacement glass, those beautiful Redline tires, and of course, the world-famous Spectre Flame paints. Fantastic products. The Redline Shop at www.redlineshop.com, where Redlines come to life. Thank you for joining me here today on Diecast Graveyard. I hope you enjoyed the build. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any suggestions or you have any cars that you want me to customize or restore for you, please send me a note in the contacts and I'll get back a hold of you. My name is Paul with Diecast Graveyard. Cheers.